Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cryptocurrently podcast. This is episode 3. I'm Eric. I'm joined with Ravi, as always. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well, as always. How are you?
I am very well. It is cold, but not terrible in Metro Detroit today. It's at least sunny, breaking through the monotony of the gray for the last, 3 or 4 months. So it's good. It's good here. Everything's good. So the crypto markets, not as good today. We're looking at Bitcoin hovering just above 10K. Ethereum is actually at 1100. So hilariously, because it's definitely taken some hits, but it's floating a lot better than a lot of the other ones. Like Litecoin is at 161 even right now, and that was up. That was sky high relative to where it is right now. Same thing with Bitcoin. So Ethereum has taken less hits as the market collapsed, which is we discussed a little bit before the show. We think it's got a lot to do with these thefts, the 400 million NEM hack, and the AriseBank ICO getting shut down after raising 600 million.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ethereum is showing a lot of good resistance. It has been a crazy week with this NEM hack, just things all over the press. Obviously, the SEC is trying to make an example out of, AriseBank, and maybe we should talk about some of these headlines. Let's talk about NEM a little bit. This big $400 million hack.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here, for anybody who is unfamiliar, is, and the headlines read a lot that it's the biggest theft in the world in history. I don't know that is necessarily true. But what we're looking at here is that we lost $400 million in NEM tokens due to a hack off of a Japanese exchange. So, and that was CoinCheck. And they're doing their best to reimburse all the people that had lost all this money, but that's a terrifying thing to see for a number of reasons, and I think it scares the hell out of investors because you're looking at a massive amount of money that's been stolen. All these coins are now gone. Your investments are nullified, and it does spook people into thinking that it not only is it obviously possible, but that it could happen to them.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the perfect time to kind of double down on your cold storage and take inventory of what you have and just check up on what are your security protocols. Obviously, keeping all of your money in an exchange is probably not the best idea. They are a little more vulnerable, but no one is exempt from being hacked. I guess this is the modern world, and we just have to take care of ourselves. And I'm sure NEM has, or the exchange there in Japan has learned from their mistakes, and hopefully they'll work towards better security measures.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate too because NEM's sitting often in the top 10 as far as market value cap is concerned. But I don't know that they were. It's strange. They weren't necessarily the best target. I think that was a target of opportunity for whomever happened to get at it, or maybe that was what they were looking for. I don't know enough about hacking, first of all, and I don't know enough about the security protocols in the exchanges and the cryptocurrencies themselves to validate or invalidate whether or not this was an easier or a harder target to get. But it's going to have a lasting impact on how many people are allowed to trade at any given time as far as new accounts are concerned. And that's not just based off of the influx of large people. And I think that also played a huge part in is you had record highs, Bitcoin going up from, basically $1,000 this time last year to $19,000. And you have a lot of bandwagon people that are hopping on and not doing their due diligence.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, this hack being, something of opportunity or incredible accuracy is, I think either way, if you have the opportunity to take $400 million plus, people are going to do it, whether it's easy or hard. So just, doubling down and checking your security measures.
Yep,
I guess the other thing is, the effects that this had in the actual exchange itself. What about all the other customers who wanted to keep trading and doing things, and they had to shut things down?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is it really threw a wrench in the works here as far as what people wanted to do, and it, like I said, it scares people, and that makes them less likely to trade. It makes them more likely to sell, and it makes them far less likely to be active in the markets, pumping more money in, moving money around.
Yeah, agreed. Well, some other things in the headlines here. You sent me this article about the CryptoRuble becoming legal tender in Russia.
Yeah,
and this was an interesting headline.
Yeah, this is interesting. Russia's been very vocal and very aggressive about their want and desire to solidify this market and this technology, specifically the cryptocurrency. I know that they have to be interested in blockchain, but they're making a more public front in what I've seen out of cryptocurrencies in general as a store of value and as something that is useful to them. And I don't know what their designs are beyond that, but a lot of people that are in the sector anyway are saying, well, this is the future. This is the future of digital exchange. This is where money is going. This is what's going to happen anyway. And it's interesting to see Russia jumping so hard on this bandwagon, because it really is going to help validate cryptocurrencies in a global scale, in my opinion.
I agree. And I mean, well, the design of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, when we first saw the white paper of Bitcoin, it really spoke to being the people's money. And I think that Russia definitely has recognized that people are the power of it just being decentralized and not focused in one entity, and the speed of which it can be exchanged. It's amazing for people. So it's definitely a good thing for the crypto world, but we'll see how it goes. Who knows what type of issues they'll run into. Yeah. No way to tell at all.
And the other thing, and it kind of goes without saying, but it's important to note, is that a government's integration of decentralized currency sort of flies in the face of what it is supposed to be. That sort of regulation and monitoring is exactly what make people nervous about using fiat currencies in the first place. So it's an interesting double standard there, but you're right. Like we'll see where it goes. We have no idea what's going to happen. So I guess we'll do a little back and forth on this one. The next article that we'll touch on in the next big headline is the AriseBank ICO is shut down by the SEC after raising about $600 million. This is just, there's a lot going on here, but I think the most important thing is you see a lot of Ponzi-esque schemes in the ICO, because unfortunately the way that crowdfunding is set up, it's just a very real possibility. So these guys come in and raise $600 million, and I believe they were at a $1 billion goal. And the SEC came in and said, we're shutting this down. This is a scam. And that's crazy for cryptocurrency and blockchain enthusiasts for a number of reasons. One, you have a lot of people that have been had by a major ICO. And then on the other hand, you have the federal government coming in and protecting them, which is kind of this like make up your mind scenario. Are you for this? Are you against it? Where are you drawing the line here on what is and is not acceptable? Because half the time we read governments want to shut it down. They want to regulate it. Other times we're reading stuff like this where they're coming in and saying, you do you, but this is bad.
Right. Yeah. It's just, they're kind of sending some mixed messages, but I think I think this can kind of be seen as, they're trying to make an example out of someone who got a little too big for their britches going scam wise. There's a lot of people out there, Bitcoin experts and stuff, or hedge fund managers this, or I'm an investment expert that, and you're not. And then you start pulling a bunch of money together. So it's, the other thing is they had a good celebrity endorsement. We had Mr. Evander Holyfield backing this project. So when things start getting mainstream like that, the SEC definitely should be stepping in and recognizing what's happening, making sure people are in compliance with them. I know that's kind of not the point of cryptocurrency, but that is what's happening. There's a lot of sharks out there these days that are not looking out for the best interest of who they're supposed to be representing.
I agree, and it does point us to maybe where the future is going, is that even though this is a decentralized and it's supposed to be hidden and anonymous, it's dangerous, and does the government owe the people that are getting involved in this a level of protection from scams? And I don't know if that comes in the way of FDIC insurance, like a bank is insured by the government, or if it just comes out as a watchdog organization that really does the due diligence and grinds through all these companies and says what is and is not legitimate. But that raises problems in and of itself of, do I trust that the government organization is feeding me the right info, and where does that line drawn? So that's a complicated and unfortunate situation that has arisen. But there are also instances of ICOs that just cut and run and nobody will ever hear from them again, and they're gone. I cannot think of any off the top of my head right now, but I know that if I did a 30-second comb of the internet, I'm sure I could find some.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that's I'm really disappointed that Evander Holyfield he's always given me such great financial advice, and this
in a lot of ways, very, very, very wise, like an owl, a poorly spoken owl. But
well, I'm looking at his pictures here in the article there, where he's like endorsing the coin, and I noticed he's doing the 3/4 turn, in the picture.
Flashy, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm salty today. We don't need to. we don't need to. We don't need to talk about how he got his other ear bit off.
Well, okay. So let's move on. In that case, since you're such a salty man, let's move on to the other positive thing we wanted to talk about today, which will round out our 4 stories for this episode of the podcast. Wyoming is the state of Wyoming is putting forth some legislation to try and make itself a safe haven for blockchain companies and what they're describing as a blockchain superpower state. And for anyone who is unaware, this is exactly what Delaware did. And I believe North Dakota did the same thing, but I'm not 100% positive on that. But with credit card companies. And so what you see is that a state like Wyoming, which does not have a ton going on for it in the way of economic growth at the moment, will put forth legislation that will relax the laws, taxes, and basically entice blockchain companies to come in there and work. And you may end up seeing this as a national blockchain superpower state, in that all the companies want to go there for tax relief, better disbursement options, all sorts of stuff that they want to get into. So what are your thoughts on Wyoming really coming forward here and putting forth some legislation?
Well, I think there's just a lot of benefits that they list here. The power, just prices on power and fiber optic data. They have a lot of benefits. So they're making a good case for themselves, that's for sure. They just, when you think of technology and you think of big corporate growth or an expanding industry, Wyoming is not the first state that comes to mind. Very low population. I don't know how many workers would want to relocate in Wyoming. I mean, again, this is just, you just have to file corporation paperwork there, I guess. You don't actually need to live there to work there. So I don't know how many jobs this is going to bring, but I'm sure there's, if all 6 lawyers in Wyoming might be very happy for filing some foreign corporation documents.
Well, and it's not that Wyoming is, and I've never been there, but I hear it's beautiful, and I'm sure that it is, and I'm not trying to dissuade our one viewer from Wyoming, but it's just, I think that's a really solid economic move, really. And I live in Detroit, an area that is obviously nationally and globally known for building cars. And we had this huge turnover at the turn of the century, as I'm sure everyone is aware, with Gerald Ford creating the industrial, this industrial process by which we can manufacture things very quickly, and it's lasted for 100 years. So if Wyoming finds themselves in a situation where they can create a blockchain infrastructure and a corporate area that lasts for 100 years, good for them. That's fantastic. It supports the industry. It gives tax incentives. It'll employ people. Like, that's what the economy is built on. So
yeah, big time. I mean, I'm sorry if I was sounding like I'm getting down on Wyoming. I'm not. I think this is a genius idea. I'm just, much like the adoption of the Russian ruble, or the crypto ruble, excuse me, we're just going to have to see how it goes. There is good opportunity, and I'm actually glad that the Wyoming Blockchain Coalition is recognizing that this is a big opportunity, and they're jumping in this early. You don't get to see a lot of organizations on the governmental levels across our country getting involved in like endorsing this technology and trying to integrate it into their schemata of doing business. So it is good to see that.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess that all the things that we've talked about on this episode really lead us to the fundamental question of, it looks like we're heading towards maybe not governmental regulation, but it definitely appears that we're headed towards governments getting involved in some capacity in cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. So I guess the simple question is, do you think that's a good thing in the long run?
Yeah. And that's something we all have to ask ourselves, I guess. In my opinion, I think these are good short-term steps in the right direction. We will have to see how it goes, because it looks like there could be a lot of pitfalls, having government involvement. So it's something to keep an eye on, definitely.
And it's not going to go away in the media, so I think everybody's going to have the opportunity to check it out. For anybody interested specifically in what Wyoming is doing, that bill is called HB 0070. That is a Wyoming state legislative bill, so I'm sure anybody that's interested can read up on it. Russia has no fear of being in the media at the moment, so that's the CryptoRuble. The NEM hack is big, and AriseBank ICO shutdown by the SEC is easy enough to find. So I'm Eric. I'm joined with Ravi. This is episode 3 of the Cryptocurrently podcast. Check out the rest of our videos on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Check out our website and all the other interviews that we do. Everybody have an awesome day. Thank you guys for listening.